What's up, everyone? It's Taylor Cowles here for CLNS Media, and I am joined by SB Nation's JP Acosta. And he's a good buddy of mine. He does fantastic work covering the NFL and the NCAA. Without further ado, JP, thank you for coming on, my man.
Thank you for having me. This has been something we've been planning for a while. I've been excited to come on. This is first time being on with you. I'm really excited for this one.
Me too, man. Me too. And one thing for you especially, now all my other shows have been like really hardcore X's and O's based, but I love how much fun you have in your stories. Like one of your more recent ones was what coaches would look like if they had longer hair. Everybody go check that out. Nick Saban, he was looking pretty good. I feel like it took like 3 or 4 years off a little bit looking at him. So in the vein of that, I thought we'd have some fun on this show. I know you're a guy who likes his anime, his comic book stuff. Obviously, I'm a pretty big comic book nerd myself, fantasy and whatnot. So I figured we'd take some people from the Justice League and see who on the Patriots roster is most like them. We'll kind of give each of our takes. But first, figured we got some breaking news in Patriots world that I want your take on very badly. So obviously the Pats lost out on the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. Now, what's your opinion? Do you think this is something that's really going to hurt the Patriots? Like, was this a move they needed to make? Or do you think they can still get by considering who they've acquired this offseason?
So I think they really did. I think they needed to make the move because I think they still needed a go-to number one receiver to kind of maximize the margin for error. I say this all the time with young quarterbacks. You want to widen that margin for error for them. For Mac Jones, especially going into a very critical year for him and with his stance, not only amongst the NFL, but in the Patriots' own front office. You can really stand to get a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. But for the money that he went to for Tennessee, I understand why they didn't do it. And I also kind of think that they have enough complementary pieces to at least make something work. I think the pieces that they have really work well with each other. Juju Smith-Schuster is very much a yak, over the middle, tougher guy. You have Devontae Parker, who just signed an extension. He's going to be your outside jump ball guy when he's healthy. And then you have a bunch of speed elements. And I think that's going to help them out a lot. It really just comes down to if Mac is going to be able to adjust to being in a new offense with Bill O'Brien, and how much is that going to help him? How much is Bill O'Brien going to raise the ceiling of the Patriots offense? Because last year we saw what happens when you don't actually have like adults in an offensive coordinator room.
Yes, sir. Now, there is still one big name free agent that's still on the board. Dalvin Cook, actually, as recently as yesterday, I believe someone reported that he is currently a betting favorite to join the Patriots. He's also been connected to the Dolphins and the Jets. Looks like he's kind of just swimming around the AFC East right now. Do you think he's somebody they should pursue? And if they do, what kind of impact do you think he could have?
I think that they could. I mean, it's going to be interesting with Dalvin Cook in New England. I think Ramondre Stevenson is it's an underrated back when it comes to among NFL circles. I think what he's able to do in the passing game and in the run game is very underrated. But I do think behind him, there's Ty Montgomery, Pierre Strong, who they just used a draft pick on last year. There's not really guys that really move the needle or impact players. Dalvin Cook could be that guy, but it depends on how much he's asking for. If the reports are kind of coming out that like he wants money, he wants to be paid like a top flight back, I don't think the Patriots should end up breaking the bank for a guy like Dalvin Cook, who, while he still can be very good, it's just very far and few in between because of how injured and how many injuries he has throughout the season. So I don't know if it makes sense for them in terms of where they are as a team, but it wouldn't hurt to add a guy like Dalvin Cook to your offense.
Right. And then you got like they've had backs with injury histories. Obviously, they shined James Robinson, but his contract was designed for them to cut loose just in case he wasn't really ready, as we saw them do before minicamp even ended. And then obviously Damian Harris was a guy who was on a rookie deal, became a free agent, and he seemed pretty pissed off that they didn't seem to offer him a contract even, again, because he was consistently injured. Now, Dalvin Cook is someone I think has better availability than that, made the Pro Bowl each of the past 4 years. But at the same time, his situation is, yeah, he's more available. Obviously, he's a talented back, but that's a lot of money, as you said, that he would probably want. So appreciate your take there. Now that we got all the serious stuff out of the way, let's get to the fun ones. So I sent you a list of guys. A lot of these names are going to be people I think everybody knows. There's a couple in here who may be a little deep cut if you're not really a comic book nerd like we are. So I'll give a little more background, but we'll start with the easy ones. So we got Big Blue, Superman, faster than a speeding bullet, stronger than a locomotive, the powerhouse in the Justice League. Who do you think on the Patriots roster is the most like Big Blue?
I'm going with my guy. I'm going with Kyle Duggar. And the one name that I think of for Kyle Duggar and Superman is the versatility. Superman's powers are very versatile. He's got the laser vision. He can freeze things with his breath. He's also super strong, extremely fast. He's also an alien who really can't be defeated by much. Sounds like Kyle Duggar, and the amount of roles that he plays on Bill Belichick's defense. You can play him in the deep halves of the field. You can play him close to the line of scrimmage. He is a tight end eraser. So I feel like with the amount of versatility that he brings, that's the easy Kyle Duggar comp. He's Superman. He's the Patriots Superman.
Man, I honestly, you could put him in like every single name that I gave you, pretty much. The versatility, it was really tough. Now, this one, I kind of went outside the box here just because I saved him for somebody else who I personally like a little bit more. So for this one, I chose Mike Onwenu.
Oh, that's
now. Here's my reasoning. Now, he's not faster than a speeding bullet necessarily, but he just might be bulletproof, if we're being honest. Like, he's a big dude. I think he may be stronger than a locomotive. I think that part might be kind of fair. Just an absolute powerhouse. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, who's a dude that just consistently wins? No one's really touching him. He's a guy that doesn't get a lot of help. Superman, like, he could go off on his own adventures and take care of stuff. The Justice League is nice to have behind him, but he can take care of a lot of the stuff solo. And you saw last year with Cole Strange, a lot of the attention from David Andrews and all the offensive line help was going his way because he's a younger guy acclimating from a smaller program. But Onwenu, consistent. I think you could make an argument that he was the best player on the Patriots offense. And again, you think of Superman, he's the best guy on the Justice League's roster. So see if there's anything else. Also a great athlete for his size. We've seen Mike Onwenu kick out to play tackle despite the fact that he's almost 350 pounds. And he was so good that people are still like, hey, why don't we move him back? We got plenty of interior offensive linemen. Tackle's looking pretty rough. Why don't we move him? So that was somebody I had to show him some kind of love, and I felt like that was where he fit best. Now, second on the list, we got Batman. World's greatest detective, maybe the most intimidating superhero that there is, who doesn't actually kill people. He's still scary, even though he's not going to do anything too crazy, but he still gets the job done. So who did you have for him?
I'm going with a rookie, and I'm going with one of my favorite rookies. I'm going Marte Mapu.
Okay, let's go.
Is a sicko. That is a sick football player. He came to the Senior Bowl after playing safety for Sacramento State and played linebacker at maybe 212 pounds, and he was putting offensive linemen on their butts. You know how you have to be a certain level of crazy to go from safety to linebacker at the most important week of your life when it comes to scouting and just go out there and just destroy people. And the other thing that I think about with Batman is he always has a plan. Marte always has a plan. He always knows what he's going to do. But when you sent me like intimidating for Batman, I'm like, oh yeah, this is Marte Mapu territory. He is a terrifying player.
I like that one a lot. So this is the slot where I actually ended up putting Duggar. Now, this is also because Batman's my guy. Like, I have respect for Superman and what he does. He's got some good storylines and everything, but Batman consistently, man, he's the one getting all the movies, all the TV shows, and Kyle Duggar is someone who I think is right on the cusp of getting that kind of attention. When you think about Batman, like we said, he's very intimidating. I don't know that there's a player, and one who might be close, but I don't think there's a player on the Patriots who is as terrifying as Kyle Duggar. Like, he hits like a Mack truck. He's fast enough to play anywhere in the secondary. And then Batman, you think about him, he's smart, like you said. He's a step ahead all the time. You saw with that pick in Vegas, where Duggar knew exactly what was coming on an RPO throw, came downhill before Derek Carr even got ready to throw, and was able to pick it off and score a touchdown. That kind of thing, his anticipation, his intelligence, seems like he gets better every year. And I feel like, especially this season, where he can really shine with Devin McCourty's gone. So where's the spotlight going to go in a lot of those situations? I think that's him. And then you talk about Batman adaptability. He's got a tool for everything. You mentioned Kyle Duggar. It's like he's got a bunch of superpowers. I kind of cheated there because, yes, he is an alien, and this is why it was so hard for me. But at the same time, Duggar, like I said, he can move around so much. He's got the physical tools to get out of any jam, handle any kind of assignment, do whatever you got to do, and be that chess piece on the board. So I figured he was somebody, especially as my favorite Patriots defender, along with my favorite superhero who's not Spider-Man. We're going DC today. But my favorite DC hero, man, it was tough to not compare him to Superman just because how freaky he is, but that was where I wound up with that one.
Yeah,
All right.
that makes a lot of
Hmm.
sense there because
Uh,
Kyle Duggar is a problem solver. And when you think about the world's greatest detective, he solves a lot of problems in Gotham. That makes a lot of sense.
All right, I'm glad you like it because I was a little nervous. I'm like, am I doing him justice since Batman doesn't have powers? Like, nah, he got the tools. Kyle Duggar is technically still human, so slide with that one a little bit. All right, next up on the list. This one's kind of easy in terms of like describing who he is. It's the Flash. Now, hopefully, no one has seen the movie that recently came out. You know, he's a better character than that. You know, we're not going to get in the time travel element, but obviously, fastest man alive. So, who did you have for this pick? There's a couple options I feel like on the Pats roster.
I feel like I kind of took the easy route out with this one. I took Taquan Thornton. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that is the easy pick. He almost set a record at the combine in the 40, and he is just blindingly fast.
Yeah.
Like you think about like what he you know how fast you have to be to make fast guys look slow. Like the NFL is full of really fast dudes, and he's making these fast guys look slow. And that's the first thing I think of with Taquan Thornton. He's a guy who's going to stretch the field vertically, and that he supplies a certain need for the Patriots offense. When I talked about they have a lot of guys who fit these certain roles. Taquan Thornton has his role. They don't ask him to do a lot of stuff outside of his role because he's so good at that role. And that sounds a lot like the Flash. You don't ask him to do a lot of things outside of being fast. But when you let him be fast, he's one of the best in the world.
I like that pick. And you said it perfectly. That's a slam dunk, but really well put. Now, for this one, I was thinking about Tyquan Thornton. I had a feeling you were going to go there, so I tried to get a little more outside the box. I went with Marcus Jones.
Ooh.
Now,
See,
another
Marcus
really
Jones is my other guy. He was the guy I was thinking about.
It was 1A, 1B, I feel like there. Like another obviously blindingly fast guy, can do it on offense, defense, special teams. When you think of the Flash, like a lot of the time when everyone's doing their thing in the Justice League, he's doing a lot of damage control. You know, he's picking up for other people. Marcus Jones on offense, like not a ton of times, but anytime he got the chance, you saw it against Buffalo. Team couldn't score to save their lives. What does he do? Takes his first touch and goes to the house. Then you think about the Jets game. Last possession of the game for the Patriots. He gets the return, takes it all the way, and wins a game that it looked like the Pats really didn't have a shot at in the last second. So, again, speed, damage control. I think Marcus Jones is that guy. We'll see how the offense shakes out. They got a lot of really fast returners right now. Demario Douglas, Isaiah Bolden. So it's going to be interesting to see what his role is like and if they really do use him as a three-phase player. But yeah, man, I think those are the two picks you got to go with.
Yeah, those are the obvious two. I mean, they're two of the fastest in the league. Either way, it's a great pick.
Hopefully they can both flourish this season for both Patriots fans' sake and just for football because they're so much fun to watch.
Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel and get 10 times your first bet amount of bonus bets and up to $200. Just bet $20 and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you could spend betting everything from the money line to the over-under to who you think is going to be, hitting the first home run. All in the app that's safe, secure, it's super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today and visit FanDuel.com/Boston and get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/Boston. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
All right, so for the next pick, we got Green Lanterns. Now, these are the guys who are like the benevolent police force of the universe. They keep order, and their big thing is willpower, because that's how they make all the big hard light instruments out of the rings and all that. So who did you have for this slot?
So I had Juwan Bentley, linebacker. I think Juwan Bentley rocks. I think when you think about Green Lantern and the ability to create things out of the ring, I keep thinking of Green Lantern and the giant green fist that he creates. And that is Juwan Bentley in the run game. What they ask Juwan Bentley to do, especially in terms of taking on guards, we normally saw that back in the past in old 3-4 defenses. Linebackers were 260, 265 because they had to take on 330-pound guards. Juwan Bentley isn't that size. The fact that he's a smaller linebacker and he's able to take on these guys, it really is a testament to his willpower and how important he is to that run defense. So I immediately thought Juwan Bentley for this one.
Yeah, so I like that one a lot. I didn't even think of Juwan Bentley for this, but that's a perfect pick. So personally, I went with Matthew Slater. because I was thinking Green Lantern, Willpower, and Matthew Slater has been in the league for 16 years as someone who was getting attention constantly. He's getting double teamed, sometimes triple teamed at what he does. So I think that takes quite a bit of willpower. Also, just obviously Green Lanterns are some of the most powerful people in the DC universe. And Matthew Slater, perennial Pro Bowler, also somebody who I think is going to be a Hall of Famer. You don't see a lot of special teamers there, but if anybody's going to get it, it's probably going to be him. And then you think, I said benevolent police force, people who keep order. Obviously, Slater's been a perennial captain as well, someone who's a really galvanizing force in that locker room consistently. Former member of the NFLPA, so it's not even just the team. He really in the entire league. He stepped down, I think, a couple of years ago because he wanted some young guys to step up. Classic Matt Slater, obviously. And I was thinking, if you've seen Justice League Unlimited, the shows, if you haven't, please watch. They're fantastic.
Yes.
But Jon Stewart, man, that voice. The voice actor absolutely kills it, and Matt Slater has one of the smoothest voices. It's not even smooth. It's like that gravelly kind of just low voice that you're just like, wait, what are you saying? What are you saying? And that's kind of the first thing I thought of was Jon Stewart. So that was my pick, but I think we kind of knocked that one out of the park, each one of us. So next up on the list is a more unconventional character. I don't think you're really going to know who he is if you're not more of a hardcore comic book person. That's Martian Manhunter. As his name suggests, he is a Martian, but he is one of the most OP or overpowered characters in comic books, period. I could go through the list, but I'm just going to give like a few because I feel like these are kind of applicable to football players. He's a shapeshifter. He's got super strength, regeneration, on top of literally a million. He's got Martian vision, whatever the hell that is. So for Martian Manhunter, who did you have?
So I thought of all the powers, all the things that he can do. I went with Marcus Jones here for Martian Manhunter. And like you said before, with Marcus Jones, the versatility that he brings to the Patriots everywhere. He was playing outside corner last year. He was playing slot last year. He was returning kicks and punts. He was arguably the most explosive receiving target for the Patriots last year. Yep. He was doing everything, and not only just doing everything, he was doing everything well. Like he was an explosive receiver target. Like he was turning screen passes into touchdowns. Like he was really good at that. And when I think of Marcus Jones, you think of everything that he can do. When you think of Martian Manhunter, you think of everything that he can do. They asked him to do so many different things, and he is on par with Superman in terms of power levels. Like he is that strong. It's just the fire weakness really is kind of goofy.
It's Marcus Jones's height is his fire.
Marcus Jones' height is his weakness. He's like 5'9", 5'8". That's the perfect Marcus Jones pick for me.
I like that one. Versatility, it's like it was like Duggar and Marcus Jones, but there was one other guy I thought of, Adrian Phillips. Especially you think of demeanor. Martian Manhunter, he's not a really loud guy. He barely speaks, but he's one of those guys where when he does, everybody listens. Adrian Phillips is that guy. He's a quiet leader, but he's been around for so long. He's such a smart, intelligent player, great instincts. So that was what I was thinking, kind of just like personality-wise, but also the versatility. Like this is somebody you could put at outside linebacker, inside linebacker, put him in the slot. You can put him at free safety, have him buzz down. Obviously the Patriots safeties, I wrote about it recently. All of them can do pretty much everything, but especially I think Adrian Phillips, especially considering, John Jones also has the regeneration and the super strength. How many times have we seen Adrian Phillips leave a game and he looks like he's really, really hurt? And you're like, damn, man, this is going to be the one time where he's actually gone. He comes back a few plays later and it's like, I don't know how he's doing this. And then he comes on the field and then he takes on an offensive lineman. So just the versatility, his toughness, his strength for somebody who's under 6 feet, still playing in the box at a high level. He was the first person I thought of for Martian Manhunter. But again, we knocked it out of the park for each one.
Really, you can put any of the safeties at Martian Manhunter. Like, yeah, I can see that. They are all so versatile. They do so many different things. They're one of the most fun, position groups in football.
I agree. I'm mad I didn't put Marte Mapu on this list just because I was trying to think of the veterans. I've been hyping him up so much. I was like, let me take a step back because we haven't seen it on an NFL field yet, but I have no reservations with you keeping him on this list because from what we saw just in the beginning, especially with the, I don't want to, drive the hype train of, he's related to Junior Seau, but he's still related to Junior Seau and he's 6'4", probably runs somewhere like a 4.4 or something like that. So yeah, man, this safety group is a lot of fun.
It's insane.
So, all right. So the last one on the list I got, this is where I wanted to kind of put a spotlight on somebody who is more underrated. So I thought of Aquaman. Now, he's someone that everybody thought was a laughingstock until they put Jason Momoa and his tatted up abs and everything on the screen, because you think of Aquaman, he's the guy who wears orange, he talks to fish, like what good is he? But really, Aquaman is strong as hell. The dude lives underwater, king of Atlantis. He's another guy who's bulletproof, super strong. And you think about the fish thing, communication's a big part of his character as well. And again, underrated guy that doesn't always get his due. So who did you have for that slot?
I love this player. I love watching him. I went with Dietrich Wise. I think
nice.
He is an underrated defensive lineman in the NFL. He doesn't do, like, he's not going to have the giant splash plays, but the role that he provides as not only an interior pass rusher, but someone who can just cause havoc on the inside for a Patriots defensive line that does so many different things up front, so many different games. Like I said, it's very college style in terms of their alignments and their assignments, what they're asked to do. And Dietrich Wise just fills that role perfectly. I think he doesn't get a lot of attention in major NFL circles, but he is definitely one of my favorite players to watch when I turn on the film after every game, just to see what kind of havoc he's creating on that defensive line. So I went with Dietrich Wise here.
I love that pick. I actually saw today Madden game. I think it was an 81. He was the highest rated defensive lineman for the Patriots or something. And I was like, okay, I'm cool with that. At least he's getting some love somewhere, Madden. And now on this podcast, thank you for bringing him up. Now, this one I admit is a bit of a reach, but I was thinking like someone who just gets disrespected all the time and is also pretty tough and strong. I went with Miles Bryant.
Oh, wow. That is a good one. That's a good one.
And you think about it like Aquaman, like he can do his thing on land, but he's not really trying to be, on the mainland that much. Another guy like Fire, he's not really good at that. Miles Bryant, yeah, you put him in man coverage, he's going to look bad. But also, what do they say? If you put a fish out of water, he's going to spend his whole life thinking he's useless. So I think Miles Bryant is someone who, as a run defender, as a zone guy, he's one of the better players on their team because he's really smart. I think the players even said pound for pound, he may be the strongest person on the team. You see him working out if you follow him on Instagram. Like, he's a really strong dude, despite being more of a slot body type. And you also think of communication. Again, in my safeties article I mentioned, he's someone who gives them underrated versatility because you saw him play outside corner against the Dolphins. Now, he didn't get burned or anything, not an ideal position for him, but he can still play every single spot in that defense in the back end. And his ability to play safety allows the safeties like Duggar, Jabril Peppers, Adrian Phillips to use their physicality, line up in the slot and, disrupt receivers, come down on RPOs and runs and stuff like that. So when you think of communication, strength, and someone who is kind of misunderstood in what they do and gets a lot of flack for, having one glaring weakness, I think Miles Bryant is kind of the perfect pick for that.
Yeah, I think the way you put it in terms of misunderstood, but when they're in their role, when, it's kind of like when you have like a great three-point shooter in the NBA, yeah. You don't want to ask them to like do all this stuff creating on the ball. No, just run off a screen. You are Kyle Korver. We know what you do. You're really good at it, so we're not going to ask you to do anything else. Miles Bryant he's so instinctive when you watch him. It seems like he knows what play is happening. He probably studies film like all the time. He's always right where he needs to be. And it makes up for kind of the athletic limitations. And you think of Aquaman, I'm not going to say like he's at athletic limitations. Obviously, he's at the but you don't necessarily think of him strength-wise on the same level as Superman. But he's still extremely strong. But when you get him in the areas where he's at his best, he is one of the best members of the Justice League.
JP, this was so much fun. We might have to do this for a different group of superheroes or something, because this was, your insights, honestly, you were blowing me away because I was trying to make some connections and you had some people that I didn't even think of.
Yeah, man, we got to do this again. We got to do Marvel. We can even do more DC. And as you were talking, I'm like, oh man, there are more superheroes. I'm like, oh, I can see this player being here.
We got like 100 years of history, baby. We can keep going. For this one, I'm going to give you the rest of your day. But first, let me give you a platform to plug anything you're doing, all your incredible work. Floor is yours.
Yep. So you can follow me on Twitter at Acosta32_JP. Like Taylor said, I write for SB Nation. I write about the NFL. I write about college football. Anywhere where there's football being played, I'm probably going to be talking about it. I'm going to be cutting up film about it. I'll be making superhero anime references about it somewhere. You can just follow my work upcoming this football season. Establish the Fun is the column I write every Friday where I talk about things that I find fun in football, because football is fun and we establish that here.
Sometimes, we can take football a little too seriously. And I tell you, man, I love that you got that niche where you kind of bring us back down to earth. And no, it's okay to enjoy it. You can have fun watching sports. Really appreciate everything you do, brother. Thank you so much for being on. Everybody at home, thanks for so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. For full Patriots training camp coverage, make sure you subscribe to our Patriots Press Pass YouTube channel. And for all of our written work, make sure to check out our website, clnsmedia.com.